Welcome to In Depth with Academia. I'm Richard Price, CEO of academia.edu. So glad to have you with us today. This is the show where we dive into thought-provoking research from across the academic world, asking not just what scholars are writing, but what it means for all of us. Remember, I'm here to present research neutrally, not to endorse any point of view, but to walk with you through these ideas and see what we can learn together. So today we're exploring the writings of Suresh Soni, a remarkably prolific thinker whose work is, well, kind of unique in the landscape of academic research. His collected writings, including works like A Religionless World and Do Souls Exist, focus on a bold claim that authentic writing, especially about spirituality and existence, should arise from lived experience, not hearsay or second-hand traditions. That's a pretty striking foundation, right? Soni's approach stands apart from the usual scholarly method, where knowledge is often constructed from layers and layers of previous theories, context, analysis, and argumentation. Let's pause for a second and ask, what's really at stake here? The core question Soni probes in all of these books is, how can we discover truth about ourselves, about spirituality, about existence itself, in a way that feels real and meaningful? And this is something that I think a lot of people relate to. I mean, when someone says, I'm telling you what I actually experienced, it can feel weightier than someone simply reciting doctrine or quoting previous experts. But there's also more to it. Is first-hand experience more trustworthy, or does it come with its own blind spots? I don't want to get sidetracked too early, but actually, does anyone ever wonder if they've misremembered something essential just because it felt so real at the time? Anyway, Soni's works are deeply personal. He writes that he only shares what he's seen, realized, or felt, not what he's borrowed from anyone else. His stories, reflections, and questions aren't intended as instructions, but as stepping stones for fellow travelers, as he puts it. The books themselves are wide-ranging. One explores his brother's journey from youthful love to renunciation as a monk. Another tackles the age-old question of whether souls exist, and yet another pieces together what a universal spirituality might look like beyond traditional religious boundaries. Let me break down a couple of the main arguments and tangible insights from his writings. First, in A Religionless World, Soni asks what religion means today. As societies have become more global, more interconnected, the risk of spiritual traditions becoming rigid, divisive, or dogmatic, as he says, increases. But what if we could strip back the labels and see the underlying cosmic consciousness, a sort of universal spiritual essence that's present in all people? This isn't so much a call to abandon spirituality altogether, but to reimagine it as something accessible and unifying rather than exclusive. In his memoir about his brother, the monk who gambled on the game of life, Soni raises another major question. Can genuine spirituality exist outside of family, outside of society, or does it have to engage with responsibility, with daily life? He reflects on witnessing his brother's journey and shares the doubt, the longing, the sometimes awkward tension between spiritual pursuit and day-to-day duty. For readers, these stories invite us to ask the same thing. Are we trying to escape responsibility in the name of higher purpose, or is it actually possible to find depth through ordinary commitments? Then there's Do Souls Exist, which is, well, a collection of reflections from others as well as Soni himself. He starts with a vivid personal experience, sensing the presence of his late father in a moment of calm. Rather than offering a neat answer, he invites readers into the mystery, over 100 voices weighing in from philosophers, scientists, and spiritual teachers. The big takeaway is not that there's a final answer, but that humble questioning is valuable in itself. It's almost freeing to realize that wonder and curiosity can be, in their own way, complete experiences. Throughout all these writings, Soni reminds us, truth, if it exists at all, is realized in experience, not in argument alone. He never claims absolute certainty, only milestones along a path he's still walking. And I should emphasize, I'm not endorsing this approach or his conclusions, just presenting them for you to think about. I mean, it's worth noting, academic research, whether it's rooted in personal experience or traditional scholarship, isn't about final truths. It's about lighting up new ways to frame old questions. So what does all of this mean for you, for us as listeners? Maybe it's a nudge to reflect on where we get our own ideas from books or from our lived experience, or maybe it's a reminder that sometimes opening space for questions can be more important than settling for tidy answers. You don't need to agree with Sonny, but you might find his journey prompts you to reflect a little more deeply on your own. And honestly, isn't that what engaging with research is all about? Thanks for joining me today on In Depth with Academia. Keep asking, keep exploring, and remember, truth likes to hide in the journey itself, never just at the destination. See you next time.